This is the Callaway Great Big Bertha Epic driver with its eye-catching triaxial carbon crown, jailbreak technology for huge distance. And this is one of the best adjustable drivers out there with its opti fit hosel and adjustable sliding weight rail at the back. So, with the potential to change loft, lie and influence draws and fades, let's run through how to set up your Epic driver to best suit your game. First of all, let's take care of a little housekeeping and look at the opening and locking mechanisms of the two screws, the hosel here and the weight at the back. To open or loosen either screw, you place the adjustment wrench into the top of the screw and you turn anti-clockwise. Conversely, to tighten the screw, you turn it clockwise. Now, you'll notice when the screw is fully tightened, it makes an audible click sound. Don't be scared when you hear that click sound. It's to let you know the sleeve is safely locked in place and helps you prevent over tightening. It sounds like this. There you go. Now, before we open the driver, let's look at the markings on the hosel here. You'll see that this is a 10.5 degree hosel. Now, below the number 10.5, you'll see a little hyphen or hatch line here. And at the very bottom, there's another hatch line here. In between those then, you have a top and a bottom cog. They have letters and numbers on them. Now, the factory or default setting is S for stated or standard on the lower cog. You'll see it there. In this case, it's 10.5 degrees. And N stands for neutral on the top cog, and that just means it's perfectly square and neutral. Now, the golden rule when adjusting the opti fit hosel is to have these little lines matched up at all times. Golden rule, guys. So let's go ahead and open the shaft screw. When fully opened, the head can be easily removed from the shaft. It takes a good few turns to get it off. But when you do, you'll notice that these top and bottom cogs, these can move independently of each other. They represent some of the different loft and lie options you can choose. You can add up to 2 degrees of loft and you can go 1 degree lower. Then for each loft you choose, you can choose an N for neutral setting or a D for a draw setting. The key to setting the OptiFit hosel is to focus on finding your desired loft first. It's quite strange, but it's part of its ingenuity that on the bottom cog you have S for standard loft and you have +1 for +1 degrees. They're on the bottom cog. And on the top cog you have -1 and you have +2 degrees. They're on the top cog. So let's say I want to hit the driver a little higher and bring up the spin a little bit. So I want to add 1 degree of loft. I will go to the bottom cog where I can see +1 and line that up with the little hyphen. If I hold that in place with my fingers, I can now turn the top cog. And it's like a little jigsaw. I notice that either a D or N fit in. So if I just want +1 degrees of loft in a neutral setting, I line them up like that and I can pop the head back on, line up the hyphen marks, and away I go. All I do is line up the hyphen marks. If I wanted to flight the ball a little bit lower and reduce spin, I can lower the loft, let's say by 1 degree. So I would first spin this top cog until I find the -1 degree, the -1 setting here. Again, I line that up with the hyphen on the bottom, and then I can spin the lower cog to choose either N or D. And if I do and line them all up with the hyphen, I can reattach the driver like so. Again, make sure the lines are matched and tighten up. Again, the key to the OptiFit hosel is to choose your loft first. Now in the Epic driver, you also have this big 17-gram sliding weight in this rail which runs around the back of the sole here. Again, you can loosen this weight with your adjustment wrench like so, and you can move it to any position along the rail. Now the factory setting is neutral here with the weight midway in the back. If you look closely, you can see that little Callaway iconic arrow there and the 2 little small lines to help you line it up in that neutral position like so. Now, in the neutral setting, the driver will be at its most stable, at its most forgiving. But if I slide this weight all the way to the heel, you'll see the draw marked on the heel. If I slide the weight all the way to the heel there is a big movement of mass here, and this will have the effect of promoting a draw or right to left bias on your drive. So if you struggle with a fade or you want to correct a slice, then this setting will help you most. Conversely, if you slide that big 17 gram weight all the way to the toe, this has the effect of wanting to create a fade or left to right bias on shots. So if your poor drive tends to hook, try this setting to correct it. And of course, you can choose any of the settings in between to feel those changes a lot more subtly or a lot more gradually. So that is how to adjust your great big Bertha driver. Let me just pop the hosel back on there, making sure the hyphens are lined up. And it's worth your while having a play with the different settings to really appreciate the results. You never know, you might find that pesky hook or slice. You can find a setting to fix those or discover some precious extra yards just by finding the setting you like, or having a lesson or a TrackMan session with your PGA Pro and adjusting the driver to match your settings best. Again, it's very important to remember that you can adjust your driver on the range before or after a round, but just not during a competitive round. From me for now, it's Donal, out.